probably walked into someone's massive house and caught a whiff of something you can't quite place. Wet towel, old cooking oil, a candle working overtime to cover it up. Now, think about the opposite. A tiny Tokyo apartment, maybe 300 square feet. And it smells like nothing. Not perfume, not bleach, just clean air. That's not luck, and it's not a bigger budget on air fresheners. It's 7 small habits so automatic that most Japanese households don't even think of them as habits. They think of it as just how a home works. By the end of this video, you'll know all 7 of them. And the one on this list that has nothing to do with cleaning at all might be the one that changes your home the most. Stay close, because habit 5 is the one almost nobody outside Japan has ever heard of. Let's start at the front door, because that's where most homes lose the battle before it even begins.
Habit 1. The door that filters the outside world. In a Japanese home, there's a small sunken step just inside the entrance. You take your shoes off there before you're technically inside at all. It looks like nothing, a tiny architectural detail. But it's doing something most Western homes never bother with. Drawing a hard line between outside and inside. Every surface your shoes touch outside, sidewalks, gas station floors, public transit, comes home with you if you keep them on. Not just dirt, odor-causing bacteria that grind into carpet fibers and never fully leave. The idea goes back to older beliefs about keeping what's unclean outside the home, treated almost the way a shrine gate marks sacred ground from ordinary ground. The takeaway is simple. A shoes-off rule, enforced at an actual physical boundary, stops a huge percentage of odor-causing material before it ever reaches your floors. An entryway can be spotless, and it still won't save you if the air behind that door never moves. So, what happens once you're actually inside?
Habit 2. Air that's never allowed to sit still. Picture a room that's been closed up all day. Blinds down, windows shut, one plug-in air freshener working overtime in the corner. You walk in, and it doesn't smell fresh. It smells covered up. That's the difference between removing odor and hiding it. Smell isn't just about what's dirty. It's about what's trapped. Stagnant air holds onto moisture. Moisture feeds mold, and mold quietly becomes the source behind most of that old house smell people can't identify. Japanese households build a daily habit around opening windows on opposite sides of a room, even briefly, so air actually passes through instead of just drifting in one window and stopping. It matters enough that newer homes are legally required to run continuous ventilation systems around the clock, cycling indoor air whether anyone remembers to open a window or not. You don't need a built-in system to copy this. 10 minutes of real cross-ventilation twice a day does more than most scented products ever will. Moving air handles most rooms. One room beats it anyway. The one everyone walks away from too soon.
Habit 3. The room you leave too early. Right after a hot shower, steam clings to every surface in the bathroom. Most people towel off and leave. The fan, if there's even one running, gets switched off within a minute or two. That leftover humidity doesn't just disappear. It settles into grout, into fabric, into anything porous, and becomes the starting point for a mildew smell that builds for weeks before anyone notices. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Leave the exhaust fan running for 30 to 60 minutes after a shower, well past the point where the room looks dry. Not to clear visible steam, to fully reset the humidity in the room before it becomes a problem. One extra step. A fan you forget to turn off on purpose, instead of forgetting to turn on at all. Bathrooms aren't the only place moisture builds overnight, though. There's a second spot, and it's somewhere you spend a third of your entire life.
Habit 4. What happens to your bedding while you sleep? Strip your sheets back right now and press your palm flat against the mattress underneath. There's a decent chance it feels the slightest bit damp, even hours after you got up. Your body loses close to a full glass of moisture overnight, just through ordinary sweat.
That moisture soaks into a mattress that never really airs out. Not this month, not this year. Homes that still use traditional floor bedding solve this directly. Futons get carried outside and hung in sunlight regularly. Heat and UV exposure dry out trapped moisture and knock down the bacteria behind that faintly sour bedding smell most people have simply learned to live with. You don't need a futon to borrow the principle. Let your mattress actually breathe in sunlight or open air before you remake the bed, instead of smoothing the covers back over it the second you wake up. That's 4 habits down: the door, the air, the bathroom, the bed. Habit 5 has nothing to do with any of them, and it might be the most overlooked cause of house odor there is.
Habit 5. The schedule nobody talks about. A friend of mine in London spent months blaming her counters for a kitchen smell she couldn't shake. Scrubbed them raw with bleach every night for almost 3 weeks before she finally traced it. Turned out the problem wasn't the counters at all. It was the bin, sitting closed and untouched 2 days past its next collection. In much of the West, 1 weekly pickup means 7 days of buildup between collections. That's just normal life. Compare that to most Japanese municipalities, where food and organic waste gets collected twice a week, sometimes more. So rotting matter never gets the chance to sit in a home long enough to become a smell problem in the first place. This one isn't really a personal habit. It's a system built around a shorter odor window. But the individual behavior underneath it is worth stealing anyway. Drain liquid out of food scraps immediately. Wrap wet waste before it goes in the bin, and never let anything organic sit uncontained overnight. Most kitchen odor complaints don't trace back to dirty counters. They trace back to waste that's been given too much time to rot in a closed space. We've covered what to remove and how to contain it. What's left is the question of what a Japanese home actually smells like when it does carry a scent, because it's almost never what you'd expect. Habit 6. Neutral beats. Nice. Step into a crowded Tokyo elevator and you'll notice something almost nobody talks about. Barely anyone is wearing perfume. That's not an accident. There's a recognized idea that a fragrance strong enough to follow you into a shared space, an elevator or a train car, isn't a nice touch. It's an imposition on the people around you. That same instinct shapes the home. The goal isn't to smell like something. It's to smell like nothing at all, with maybe one subtle natural note. Cypress wood, green tea, a single stick of incense, added sparingly, almost as an afterthought. That distinction matters more than it sounds like. A strong, clean scent almost always means something underneath is being masked, not solved.
Neutral means there was nothing to hide in the first place. Here's what ties every habit so far together, and it's the one that has nothing to do with cleaning at all. Habit 7, less to hold the smell. Look around whatever room you're sitting in right now and count the soft surfaces. Cushions, rugs, stacked papers, a shelf of things you forgot you owned. Every one of them is a place for dust, moisture, and odor to quietly build up over time. There's a well-known approach to home organization here, built around 3 actions. Refuse what you don't need, dispose of what you don't use, separate yourself from what no longer serves you.
The result is fewer soft surfaces, fewer hidden corners, fewer places for anything to settle in unnoticed. A cluttered home doesn't just look busy. It physically holds on to more of everything, including the smells you're trying to get rid of. So here's the one thread connecting all 7 of these. Nothing gets the chance to sit. Not the dirt at the door, not the moisture in the air, not the waste in the bin. Every habit on this list exists to keep something moving instead of letting it settle. None of it requires a renovation. None of it requires a single new product. It requires noticing the small moments in your day where you're one extra step away from doing what a Japanese household would already consider automatic. Imagine walking into your own place after a long day, and it just smells like nothing. Not because you covered it up on your way out the door, but because there was never anything there to cover up.
So here's a real challenge, not just something to think about. Pick one habit from this list, just one, and do it today. Run the fan longer than feels necessary. Open 2 windows instead of 1. Take 5 minutes before bed to clear one surface completely.
Tell me in the comments which one you're starting with. And if this changed the way you think about your own home, share it with someone who's tried every candle on the market and still can't figure out why nothing's working. And if you liked this one, there's a video that takes it even further. 8 Japanese habits that keep your home clean and never messy. Everything you just learned about smell is really just the surface. That video breaks down the exact habits that stop mess from ever building up in the first place. The ones most people never even think to ask about. If you actually want your home to run itself, that one's the real unlock. It's right here on the screen. Go watch it now, before you forget.